What you are about to watch is one part of a series recorded by well-respected psychic medium Anthony Grzelka, Australia's Ghost Whisperer. The opinions and views expressed throughout this series are based on Anthony's own personal beliefs. The basis of these beliefs has been developed through the 12,000 plus connections he has made with the spirit world.
I'm asked about reincarnation all the time, and reincarnation is one of those things that everybody has an opinion on. I think largely our ideas of reincarnation come from a lot of the Eastern religions like Buddhism and some of the Eastern religions that talk about karma and reincarnation. And what prompted me to look at reincarnation a little bit more closely than I think I have in the past was I was asked a question by my father-in-law once, and it's a legitimate question that I think everybody would want to ask. And my father-in-law has an understanding of reincarnation, probably more the Buddhist understanding of reincarnation. And he said to me, Anthony, okay, so as a medium, you talk to my grandfather, but how can you talk to my grandfather if he's already reincarnated, if he's already come back in another life? And it sort of vexed me a little bit because I was thinking, okay, what is it about reincarnation? You know, that's an interesting question. So I started to look into it and I started to do a bit of thinking about it, and as I do with most of the things in my theories of the work that I do, I get lots of indications from all of the readings that I do. They'll give me a little bit of information about different things. And reincarnation is one of the things that they started to give me a lot of information about what actually happens in the process. And I think the best way to explain reincarnation is perhaps to use a bit of an analogy. And I think what I'll do, if you can imagine that this glass of water is your soul. So let's, for this exercise, call this your mother soul, okay? The water contained in the glass is really a culmination of all of the lifetimes you've ever lived. So understand the fact that you do come back, okay? But the more water contained in the glass, or the more fluid in your mother soul, so to speak, the older the soul you are, the more lifetimes you've lived, okay? But the important thing to remember is that you are just one drop. You come out as one drop of water. Now, because of the experiences you have here in life, because of the things that you do, good and bad, the lessons that you learn here, the understanding that you have, your drop gets bigger. It draws energy to itself. So when your life's finally up here, your drop is much bigger than it was when it left. So you go plop back into the glass of water, so to speak. Now, what happens then is you dilute into every other experience you've ever had. So the person you are right now is a culmination of all of the different lifetimes you've ever lived. So when you go plop and you go back into it, you dilute into everything that's already there. And you also raise the level a little bit because you've brought something to your soul. Now the next drop to come out won't be you. So another drop will come out and live a lifetime, but it won't be you. But it'll certainly have aspects of you in it because it's now a combination of everything that was already there plus what you've brought to it from your last lifetime. So it won't be you, but it will have aspects of you in it. Now the question is, of course, okay, well, how do I connect to the grandfather that's part of that soul? Well, what I do as a medium is I connect to the drop or the aspects of that soul that was your grandmother or your grandfather, whoever, or yourself. I'll connect to that one drop that had all of the aspects of you in it, your lifetime, and I communicate with that aspect of that whole soul that was you. So that's the way reincarnation really works. Here's something interesting though. If you've ever walked down the street and you've met someone, for instance, that was perhaps, you know, and you think, oh gosh, that person seems really familiar to me, really, I know this person really well. What I want you to consider is in that glass, in that soul, there might be 100 drops coming out at one time. It may not just be one drop. We tend to have an understanding or a feeling that the spirit world's very slow and then one thing happens and the next thing happens. You know, 100 drops could be coming out of that one glass at any one time, living multiple lifetimes in multiple dimensions. And that person you meet in the street, and you think, gosh, that person's really familiar to me. They might just be the person or a drop from your same soul. Finally, I just want to talk about karma, because a lot of people have this idea of karma, that what you do here, you have to pay back on the other side, so to speak. I personally, as a medium, don't believe in karma, okay? I believe what you do here, you have an experience for, and when you get to the other side, you have to you have to count that experience, or you have to experience that experience. But I don't think you have to level the playing field. I don't think karma exists. That's not something that I've ever come across as a medium.
To watch more in this series, or for further information on Anthony, his books, meditation CDs, workshops, ghost tours, or to book a private reading, please visit whispersfrombeyond.com.au.